So this is the quick tour. Here's the quick tour. MIDI in and out. Blue Lantern version of Mutable Instruments yarns. A micro version, the nano version of Mutable Instruments ring. It makes bell sounds. Change the shape of the bell, dampening. Rings. This is all done by a guy named Jack Plug. This is Mutable Instruments Plats, except the micro version is called a Beehive. So this is Mutable Instruments Shades. This is a Benjalin, which I fucking love. It's hard to explain what this does. It's not making good noises right now. Benjalin's chaotic oscillator sort of sound source. You used to only be able to get these by going to workshops that this guy would hold about a decade ago. This is a spherical wavetable navigator done by 4MS, but they released the hardware, so a group of us did a group buy on a PCBA, that's PCB assembly out of China. So this cost me about $150. This is a 4MS spectral multiband resonator, which is the predecessor of the wavetable navigator. This is a resonator. This is I think my favorite module actually. It's just fucking lovely, and it's I got that on a group buy too, fairly cheap, because we PCBA'd the boards, and I had to buy a bunch of parts, and it took months, and it was like the brass ring, and then this came up for offer because the company designed the boards and said, here's the design. Let's spread that out. Let's go to a different scale. And that's just the resonator going. Bifaco Chopping Kinky, which is like a wave folder. It's all right. I built that. Dual low pass gate, which doesn't have the mix out working, which I got used. I'm going to fix that mix out though pretty soon. This is a cheapo, it's called a low coast. And it's what you see. It's a little fucking car radio stuffed into a modular, so you can do Bluetooth and all that other shit. This is a Sloth, nonlinear circuits Sloth, which is super great. I recommend anything by nonlinear circuits. If you have any opportunity to buy anything at all by nonlinear circuits, buy it. If you're into built modules, buy one. I'm into building, and the guy's in Australia, and each of the PCBs and panels is like $40. So I got the Sloths as a rescue. The middle section didn't work, but I figured out what was wrong with it very quickly and got it fixed. And it just does like a chaotic figure 8. This is this is an oscillator. This is a Casutronics design of the 3340 chip. Which is a little chip that does this and this and this. This is a dual ADSR, as you can see. Envelopes, very nice. It's got a flipped version too, which is very handy. And then this is the micro braids, which I picked up as another rescue. Someone sold it to me unflashed, so I flashed the sound chip in it. Worked just fine. Couldn't get the display chip working at all. I fucking spent 12 hours on that fucking display. And then I used this cheap Chinese programmer. Oh my God, I got it done in no time. The Mutable Instruments links. I had some problems with getting some bad chips from China. So I built 2 of these at once, and they smoked on me. And you can see it's how wide it is, how narrow that is. So right below the word links, there's a little op amp, and it smoked on me. And both of them smoked on me because I have 2 of them. And I ended up going to Texas Instruments and going to their sample site and getting new chips straight from Texas Instruments. And so it does. So now I have got this is where I do all of my volts per octave. I'm going to mult out the volts per octave. I do use these things. And then this has got an averager, and then it's got a little mixer here. So this will knock the signal down by 1/3 and then mix them all together. So this is a Vincursal VCA, which also has a sum out, so it acts like kind of a 6-way mixer, but it's also VCA 6-way, handy little thing. I recommend these highly. If you get your hands on one, they're a good, easy through-hole build. Mutable Instruments Peaks, another Peaks, and a Peaks. This is the micro version that's done by Jack Plug. Jack Plug, again, the guy who designed this one. This is all Mutable Instruments that Jack Plug's redesigned. I have a lot of Jack Plug Mutable Instruments redesigns. This is a original grids from Mutable Instruments. Lovely little drum thing. This is the heart of my clocks here. U-Temps here. So this is same guys who did Ornament and Crime did a temps, U-Temps, which is a kind of a clock. So it's got 6 clock outputs here, and click 6 trigger inputs. And so right next to that, I've got I usually take my clock into the U-Temps and split it out to the grids, and I split it out to the rotating clock divider. All of my clocks are coming from the Performer, which is this will do some recording. It's got a micro SD card. I can plug in like a launch pad or whatever and do sequencing straight into it. And it's Performers are lovely, and you think you want one, and then I've had one for, I don't know, 9 months now, and I don't use it much. But I will someday, maybe. So I have one Ornament Crime, a flipped Ornament and Crime. These are running hemispheres. So hemispheres is the way to go. In fact, there's a YouTube series that's just going to start out about hemispheres. So you basically get you get 2 inputs, 2 sides of this. That's a gate, CV, and then this is the output down here, right? So you've got hemispheres is like this. Hemispheres is fucking great. And not only that, hemispheres has a Captain MIDI. So inside there's a Teensy, which is like a kind of an Arduino thing, circuit board plugged into the back that has USB out. So right now on these two, I have USB cables stretched out to a hub, which is going to my computer, so I can switch to Captain MIDI mode. And Captain MIDI mode is just great because you can just assign, you can flip right in and assign, like, look, I want note, gate, trigger, velocity, aftertouch, and just assign it to any of these 4 CVs down here. And you can do MIDI input as well. So it's fucking great. I cannot say good enough things about Ornament and Crime. And then there's these other modes, which, yes, it'll play Pong. So many of my modules will play Pong. It's true. Hemispheres is just fucking great, okay? And this is an Ornament and Crime, another micro Ornament and Crime, but this is running the stock firmware for Ornament and Crime, Dust of Time. So the same guy who designed the UOC, he did the redesign on the N rings and shrunk them down, and the Beehive shrunk that down. He did the U-Temps. This guy Jim Matheson, he goes by Jack Plug on GitHub. He also did the Peaks, so that's his redesign here. He did this module like 2 months ago. He released it, and I was like, holy fuck, I gotta build one of those. So it's got like all these buttons off to the side, oscillator, so you can. Zeroscope. This is a Typhoon, which is a version of Mutable Instruments Clouds, which has an internal VCA and sliders, and it has all of the clouds, all the stuff in clouds brought to the front panel. Clouds normally you can get micro clouds or U clouds or whatever. I would not recommend it. I would recommend getting either a Monsoon or a Typhoon if you're going to go for Mutable Instruments Clouds. Swirls, which is Mutable Instruments Tides, but it's a micro version. Got me a nice little Doppler VCA, which is really handy. And then Ripples, which is Mutable Instruments Design Filter, which has 4 outs, which then I got into my Steiner Parker VCF. And this is Timo Rosenthal's version of USynth's schematic of the Steiner Parker design of a VCF. So let's start over here. So then I've got a nice little arcade button next to my nice little joystick, which also has some buttons. And then I've got this, which does some gating as well. This is a Mutable Instruments / Music Thing modular ears, which has a microphone in there, so you can do gating. See that? You can do the gating out, which is really fun. And then this is a Krach Ostrom, which is a drum module I just got as a rescue because the middle channel didn't work, and actually the third channel really didn't work too well, and that's what I've got going around right now. Got it plugged right into the grids. So so each one of these does a different. And I actually didn't think I was going to rack it, but I kind of like it, I guess. So this is the hi-hat down here, bass up here. And then this is the kind of the snare at the top. Yeah, I screwed that up. Not quite my style of music, but I racked it. I mean, I fixed it last week. I got this in a trade. I traded this guy off a couple of PCBs I was going to build, but I can always get more. And fixed his rescue, and I fixed it in like 12 hours, and figured out what was wrong with his board. And then he even had one of the little LEDs in here on backwards, and I fixed that. Hey, so hey, win for me. I love fixing things. This is a Mutable Instruments Warps. This is a DIY version because Mutable Instruments open source all their designs. This has got a lot of menu diving. It does. There's a delay mode. I've got Parasites, alternate firmware called Parasites running on it, and it does a lot of wave folding, crossfading. Does a whole bunch of crap. Just probably the worst design module in existence, but it does a lot. Synphi Miasma, which is a function generator. So it'll do this thing where it'll cycle, and it's got all these ins and outs and end of cycle, and it's fun. It's fun to get a loop going, but I would really, when I build another one of these, I'm going to make this like a paddle switch, because this trigger switch is just a pain in the ass, and you just don't know these things when you start doing them. And yeah, then I've got a Mutable Instrument Shades. That's kind of an attenuator. Then I just got a Reflex Live Loop, which is a digital looper. And then there's my Pittsburgh Lifeforms mixer, which I just, in the re-rack just now, I put it back in the corner, put it way down here in the corner so that I could, and I built this case. So that's my modules. That's what I got going right now. And then this is a teleplexer. That's all right. This is like a Moog resonator, Moog circuit resonator, which I built. I got the panel and PCB for cheap. And another Ripples here, which I didn't have room for. Another Steiner Parker filter I didn't have room for. This is a cheap karaoke reverb. Someone, I got the panel made up, and this is just a cheap eBay thing, which you just solder some jacks on and have at it, and you got a nice little delay unit. That's all right, not too bad. And then I've got, just to let you know that this is not an easy, there's a Peaks that's not working. That's like a Mutable Instruments micro version of a Peaks. And then this is a mixer, which is going to be part of a bigger mixer section. This is the flashing LED lights from that mixer section. There's an amplifier. Here's an N-Rings, which smoked on me. So anyway, that's my modular. Okay, told you enough.